everybody, it's Kathy with Simply Cards by Kathy, and I'm really excited you're here today. We are going to make 2 easy cards using the hand-penned designer series paper and the hand-penned bundle. Now during the month of July, Stampin' Up! Is having a 15% off sale on many of their designer series papers. And I had said at the beginning of the month, each week I would feature a different designer series paper with its coordinating bundle. So this week we're doing hand-penned. If you want more information on the designer series paper sale, just click that button up at the top. It'll take you over to my website and you'll be able to see more about it. Don't worry about copying down all the measurements for the different pieces of paper that we're using or even the supplies, because there's going to be a full list for you right below this video at the end. And at the end of the video, if you like it, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. I'd love to notify you of when more videos are coming out. So we're going to flip this camera down and get started. I have our annual catalog open to page 104 and 105, which shows us the hand-pen suite. You can see some card samples here, the really beautiful designs. Over here we have the hand-penned stamps. And the stamps sell with the die cuts, which are the hand pen petals bundle, at 10% off if you buy them as a bundle. I think this is one of my favorite stamp sets. I just keep going back to it and using it all the time. And that's what we're going to use today to make our cards. We're also going to use the hand-penned designer series paper that I just wanted to take a second to show you. Some really beautiful floral designs that match with the stamps. And then if you turn the papers over, have some really pretty sides that go together. And one of the stamps, or cards, that we're going to make, we're going to use one of the papers, both sides of it on a card. So we'll see what it looks like. So I did a lot of the pre-cutting work for us. And I'm going to bring in my first card and going to bring in some of the other things that we're going to need to do that. I've cut them out. I will give you all the measurements will be down below this video and also over on my website so that you can see what everything is and all the supplies that I've used. So with the card, I have taken a white piece of cardstock and I have cut it in half at 4 1/4 by 11. Now inside, I keep my dies and my stamps together, and I used one of the die cuts to put this edge on my card. And what I did is I scored it at 5 1/2, and then I put the die down and I secured it with some washi tape, and I just ran it through my cut and emboss machine just to give me a little edge. And you'll see why as we put this card together. So we are going to come over and we're going to fold our card on the scored line, and I'm going to use my bone folder, and I go over it twice just to get a nice sharp fold, but also so that to get a nice sharp fold, and also so the card lays flat. I'm going to take my silicone mat and I'm going to use my multi-purpose glue. This is a piece of designer series paper and it's cut at 3 3/4 by 5 1/4. And we're going to go ahead and just put a little bit of the multi-purpose glue around the edge, and we're going to secure it to the front of our card. Now I cut this so that I had a little bit of an edge on my card base. And the thing I like about the glue is it allows you to slide your paper and it doesn't secure quite as rapidly. And that's pretty even all the way around. This is a piece of cardstock. It's 2 by 5, and it is embossed with our checks and dots embossing folder. And I'm going to secure that with a little bit of edge all the way around 3 sides, and we'll secure that. Now I did cut a matching piece of designer series paper, and this is cut at 1 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I did the same thing with the edge as I did on the card base. I cut that scalloped edge out because I wanted to put that in the card and have it straight edge matches up, but that the scalloped edge is on the inside of the card. And we have that done. So we're going to set that aside, and I have a scrap piece of white cardstock 3x4, and we are going to grab our stamp that I had on a block, and we're going to take our tuxedo black memento ink, and we're going to stamp that. I do mine upside down because that way I tend not to get as much. I don't get any on the block if I do that, or tend not to. And I also don't wear as much and get as much on my hands. And then I just put this right back down in the lid. And I am going to stamp this on our piercing mat because I'm using a photopolymer stamp, and it gives it a little bit more cushion and you just get a better image. There we go. That looks great. And then we're going to pull in our pieces to the design. So I have pieces to put together for this puzzle right here. And the colors we're going to use, what I like about the Designer Series paper is on the back of it, it lists all the colors for that paper. So with this, I'm going to use mint macaroon for my leaves. I'm going to use Daffodil Delight on the smaller flowers, and I'm going to use Blushing Bride on the larger flowers. So let's set those aside and let's open up our Blushing Bride. One of the other things I learned, and this is from Connie Stewart, another Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, is I keep a little container here so that as I'm done with my stamps, I don't lose them and I can just go ahead and drop them in there. With these stamps, I had mentioned this is a two-step stamp process. The other thing you can do is color them with your alcohol blends. But I'm going to stamp them, and I'm going to pull in a piece of scrap paper here because I'm going to want to stamp off. So I'm going to ink up my flower, and I'm going to stamp off lightly, and then I'm going to stamp here, and it's a lighter image like I wanted, which is great. And then I'm going to do my other flower, and I tend, you notice, the whole image is not filled in, and it's not supposed to be. It's a two-step stamp. And I stamped off there, and we'll go ahead and stamp that. Now, these two small flowers right here have one stamp, and they'll stamp both at the same time. So I'm going to get that ready on my block. I'm going to close up my Blushing Bride and open up my Daffodil Delight. And I want to stay with the lighter pastel color, so I'm going to ink it up, stamp off, and then stamp my image. Ink again, stamp my image, and take that off. Now I forgot to stamp that third flower with the Blushing Bride, so we're going to go back and open that up, and we're going to just position our flower, stamp off again, and then I'm going to use the mint macaroon on my leaves. Now on my leaves, I don't think I'm going to stamp off for that. We can probably use a smaller than that. Ink that up, and I'm going to here more. Oops, missed it. I'm going to take my smaller one. There we go. And like I said, I tend to wear a lot of ink. What we're going to do now is, so we're going to take our die and position it over our image. And I take washi tape, or I take some of the Post-it tapes, and I'm going to go right on over and cut it out, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back with our image, and what I'm going to do is take some Stampin' Dimensionals because I want to give the card a little bit, add a little bit more dimension to it. And I'm going to put some Stampin' Dimensionals on the back of it because that will help to raise it up and give, I just like the look that the Stampin' Dimensionals give. I tend to use a lot because I don't want it to collapse. And then I just peel these off. I just love these. They add so much to the card. This off, and then you can position it however you think you would like it to look. I think I like that look. So I'm gonna put it like that. And then this one's gonna be a birthday card. So I'm gonna add some Stampin' Dimensionals to that also. And then I made a little bow. There it is. So what I'm gonna do with that is I'm gonna take a glue dot, which those work great for the bows, and you have your card. So here's our first card. Happy birthday, and I'm actually gonna trim down these little threads here, the little ties, and we're done with that. And here's the inside of your card. So you can stamp a greeting in here, or you can leave it blank to write your own message. So that's our first card that we made. And now we're gonna go and do our second card, which is gonna be a little different, because if you're someone that's new to stamping and just getting started, you may not have all the dies or everything, or you may not have the embossing folder. So, you may be saying, well, but how's my card gonna look if I don't have all that? Well, I'm gonna show you because we're gonna make one. So let's set this card aside and bring in the materials for our second card. This card is cut the same. It's 4 1/4 by 11. And then I went on my paper cutter and I cut off, I scored it at 5 1/2 and I cut off 1/4 inch just on the outside of the card. And you'll see why in a minute. So we're gonna go ahead and fold this over with our bone folder. Now, this is the same piece of paper that we had for our other card. This is 3 3/4 by 5 1/4. And you can see I'm using a designer series paper, but I'm using both sides of it. So with this, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to use the Highland Heather leaf side for this. And we're going to go ahead and secure this. And I should be on my silicone mat because I'll have glue all over my desk here. So we're going to put this on, and you'll see that this card isn't going to have all the scalloped edges in that, but I think it comes out just as pretty. And it's a great way, if you're new to stamping, that you can do what we call a SIP card, which is just stamps, ink, and paper. No dies, and they make beautiful cards. So let's secure that. Now, on the outside of this, I'm going to put the floral part, just like we did with the other one. On the inside of the card, we're going to put our edge, and I'm just going to line it right up. There we go. And this is a 3 by 3 square. And instead of using our multi-purpose glue, we're going to put in some Stampin' Dimensionals. And down the line, we're going to do another video where we're using more of just the die cuts. And I do have some cards after this that I'll show you. So we're going to place this right about here. And then I went ahead and cut out our happy birthday. So I'm going to put this right here. So I'm not going to put a dimensional there. I'm going to put like a dab of glue. Or the other thing you could use would be a glue dot, just to make sure that it adheres. Birthday. So 2 easy cards. Let's get this out of the way here, and I'll show you some others. So these were our 2 cards that we made today. Both happy birthday, but then I want to bring in some others to show you. This was using another one of the hand pen papers, but here I just added a ribbon, and I did cut out the flowers. On this one, I used just the die cut of the silhouette of the flowers and added that. and then on the inside put a greeting and a flower and dressed it up with some of the gems. And another one where I used the checks embossing folder from the Checks and Dots embossing folder, and adhered just a bow to it. So there's 5 different cards. I hope you enjoyed our video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe, and that way you'll get notified when new videos come out. So have a good day and hope to see you again real soon.